In this video, we go over the players who I think will be the premium price players in the FPL game and which ones are best. This covers the likes of Harry Kane, Heung-Min, Salah, Erling Haaland, Darwin Nunez and Kevin De Bruyne. Which one should you have in your FPL sides? That's coming up next. What the flock is going on? Welcome to FPL Today and welcome to this video over the 6 players I think will be the premium price players in the Premier League that we should be considering for our FPL sides and which one is best. And we're going to do this in order from worst to best. So already the first one is spoiled for you guys, but at least the other 5 will be a surprise. And let's get straight into this video, and we're starting off with Harry Kane. Now, Kane and Heung-Min Son by default, because they're Spurs players, have a decent run of fixtures for the first 6 game weeks. As you can see at the bottom of the graphic, you've got the likes of Southampton, Wolves and Fulham all at home in the first 6. Great fixtures for them and great fixtures for a Conte side that is on the up and improving. However, Harry Kane's underlying stats actually come in significantly worse than a lot of the players we'll be talking about later on in this video. I think one of the biggest things that stood out to me here is his shots on target was 51 shots on target, which was highest out of anyone in these 6 players. And his shots on goal, including all shots that didn't go on target as well as those that did, was 131, which was second. Despite that, he's 5th for goals. Goals per 90, he's at 0.47. Goals and assists per 90, he's at 0.72. And that all puts him around the 6th, 5th and 4th area for his ranking compared to the others. Goals per shot at 0.1 and goals per shot on target at 0.25 also put him last in that table. So this is why I think personally, going off of the stats of last season, Harry Kane is not the best premium price choice. However, the plus side in Harry Kane is if you do bring him in because you're not too sure about how Erling Haaland or Darwin Nunes is going to start in the Premier League, as soon as you can tell if one of those players is going to be significant and someone you need to bring in, Harry Kane is an easy one transfer to that player, which is a plus point on his side. Before we move on to the next side, if you do enjoy these sort of videos where we compare players, do make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, and also get involved in the comments down below. It really helps the channel out, and thank you guys so much for the support so far this pre-season. We move on to the 5th player, and it is Darwin Nunes. Now, he is first for goals scored, and he's not too bad in some other stats as well, like goals per 90 at 1.18, putting him first, and also second for goals and assists per 90 at 1.37. And you can also see shots on target, 51.8% second, and goals per shot 0.26 second, and goals per shot on target 0.50 also second out of these 6 players. And again, Liverpool have a decent run of fixtures. Despite it being away, Fulham as a first game is a good one. Then you've got Crystal Palace at home, Bournemouth at home and Newcastle at home in the first 6. However, I've downgraded him in rank as far as my own personal rank because he's done this in the Portuguese league. I personally do think that something called the Premier League tax does exist, and players usually come into the Premier League do see a drop off in their stats. So despite him being first in some important metrics, I've actually decided that overall I'm putting him 5th and putting my trust in players that have played in the Premier League and have shown their stats there over someone that has done it in the Portuguese league. Now, in this video, I also rate Bundesliga a little bit higher than the Portuguese league, but to be honest, not by much, because plenty of players have come from the Bundesliga and not done well in the Premier League. And we've seen the likes of Luis Diaz come from the Portuguese league and do great in the Premier League. So I haven't really weighted it that much difference between those 2 leagues, but I have weighted the Premier League higher. So Darwin Nunes, because of that, comes in 5th. But I am very excited to see how he starts in the Premier League. Coming in at 4th is Kevin De Bruyne, and is the only midfielder really amongst this list. Now, I know Son and Salah often get graded as midfielders in Fantasy Premier League, but realistically in their real life, they are forward players. Kevin De Bruyne is definitely a midfielder, although he is an attacking one with some great assist potential. And Man City, again, another one of the big sides with some decent fixtures. Bournemouth, Crystal Palace and Nottingham as home fixtures. And of course, Man City and the likes of Liverpool going to be good against anyone in any game anyway. But he does come 6th for goals. But more importantly, assists per 90, 0.33 puts him at 2nd for assists per 90. And you also got shots on target, 41.9%, putting him 3rd. So there's definitely potential for Kevin De Bruyne to have a great season this season, because these stats actually come with a caveat of he got injured last season. So had he not been injured for as much time, he would, of course, potentially improved on these stats. And also now he's got Erling Haaland to assist. So that could see more assists for him and potentially also more goals as defenders start to worry about Erling Haaland more, giving Kevin De Bruyne more chances to shoot. So I definitely think Kevin De Bruyne is still a good option, but I am putting him 4th out of these 6 players. Coming at 3rd is Erling Haaland. Now, I got a little bit of feedback on the last video where a lot of people think Erling Haaland potentially is essential because despite the fact he's new to the league and he's coming from the Bundesliga and Premier League tax, he's also playing for Manchester City, who create so many chances, and he is a lethal finisher, so surely he will do well there. I thought the same for players like Timo Werner, but I also thought the same for players like Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who did do very well. And let's be fair, Cristiano Ronaldo did very well to score as many goals as he did for Man United last season. But his stats, of course, are very good from the Bundesliga, although minutes-wise he didn't play as much as some of the other players that I'm comparing here. But 22 goals, despite the fact he played less games than most people in this video, and 8 assists. That puts him 4th for goals and 3rd for assists. But we look at goals and assists per 90, which shows a bit of a fairer score against the others because of his injuries, and it's 1.41, putting him 1st. Goals per 90 and assists per 90, he's at 2nd for both of those metrics. And goals per shot on target, he's the highest at 0.52. So definitely a player that will, if he hits the ground running, he should be scoring plenty of goals. It's just, will he be scoring more than the likes of the other 2 players still to rank in this video? What I've also noticed, though, is shots. He had 74, yet he's got such good stats outside of this. I feel like that potentially means he's not very wasteful in front of goal. So Erling Haaland's a great player, and I'd be super surprised if he doesn't do great in the Premier League. I just happen to think, going off of what I know and the possibilities of him not being a great starter at Man City, is the next 2 options are better. But of course, we're all allowed our opinions. Everyone has one, like something else. But anyway, we go on to 2nd, and it's Heung-Min Son. And this was very tough to pick between the 2, because of course, they both scored 23 goals last season. We know who's first now. And Son did it with no penalties, which is significant. Assists, though, he was lower than Salah. He got 5th ranked for there. He has the same fixtures, of course, as Harry Kane, which we've already covered. But also, if we look at shots on target, 54.7%. That puts him 1st. Goals per shot, 0.27, putting him 1st. And goals per shots on target, 0.49, putting him 1st. Those are great metrics, and it shows how good he is in front of goal. And to be honest, there's been plenty of talk recently in the footballing world that is Son world class or not. I don't see how he's not. And I personally think Son would get into most teams in the world quite easily. Maybe not Paris Saint-Germain, because Mbappe, Neymar and Messi are there, but I'd put him in any other side, including Real Madrid, who have just won the Champions League. I think he'd play for them too. So I think Son's a great player, and he's someone that I will be desperate to try and fit into my side. Then finally, of course, we've got Mohamed Salah. Now, there is a chance that Mohamed Salah doesn't perform that well this season because his contract looks like it could run out next season, and Salah may not sign a contract, so he might already have an eye on a move elsewhere. However, Salah seems a very competitive player, and Liverpool have come out, or at least rumours from Liverpool are they're not concerned that his performances will drop. And of course, he got 23 goals last year, tied with Heung-Min Son. He did have penalties on his side, but he also got the most assists out of any of these players as well, getting 13. Assists per 90 then, of course, is also 1st. And Liverpool generally did very well when he was on the pitch. Goals scored whilst he was on the pitch, 77, which is highest out of anyone else. And he had the most shots on goal. However, where he's better than Kane here is the amount of goals he's scored and how he rates in other metrics like shots on target, 49, putting him 2nd. So overall, I think Mohamed Salah just gets so many chances. and has so many attempts on goal that he always is possible of having a very explosive game and is likely to still be one of the top scorers next season. And that puts him just above Son, although one thing I forgot to mention with Son is Son seems to be improving year on year, and if Spurs improve under Conte, there's the potential that Son has an absolutely crazy year. So, what does this mean for the side I'm going to pick when the FPL game launches? I did a video recently where I went over the players you could have got in your side if you went cheap elsewhere, and I managed to get Kevin De Bruyne, Son and Salah in a side. Or was it Harry Kane? Either way, Salah, Son and another premium got into my starting 11, and it wasn't a bad starting 11. The caveat, of course, is trying to find those cheap players that will do decent, which would be the likes last season of your Jared Bowens or your Emmanuel Dennis at Watford, who did very well considering their price range. So there is a chance I do go for free, and if I do manage to get free in my side, and that of course depends on how highly they're priced, and to be honest, I think the free I've put first will be priced too highly for this, but I could see if I could manage it, Salah and Son being my first two choices, but if I can also get Haaland in, then it's just a game of trying to find the value elsewhere in the game and maybe some underpriced players that are going to have good seasons. So that is how I am going to be approaching the start of next FPL season. Let me know in the comments down below how your approach would be and which of these players you think you need in your starting 11. Are you going for 2? Are you going for 3? Are you going for 1 and then just a stronger balanced squad? Let me know whilst hitting that subscribe button and hitting that like button as well to support the channel. And also, if you want any access to a fixture ticker, do check out Fantasy Football Hub, which I've got these fixture ratings from at the bottom of these graphics. With all that being said, I've been JNO, this has been FPL Today, and remember, it's all about the game.